Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Birn, thank you for being here this afternoon. So the program on Guam where the governor paid out war claims was pursuant to Public Law 35-61. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
So that law created, would authorize the payment and to transfer funds available from the general fund to pay the adjudicated claims. And it also created the fund, of course, and it, in subsection E, it says, all money reimbursed to the government of Guam for payment of claims as authorized in subsection D of this section shall be deposited in the fund. Didn't you say earlier that you received reimbursement for the payments that the governor had made for war claims?
Yes, I did.
All right, but you're saying that there is no money in this account?
Well, the way the legislation was written, and I think the administration was on record as saying it at the time, is kind of backwards. We created a fund and when the money was paid out, there was a deficit in the fund, and then when the money was received, the fund was made good. And that seems to me an appropriate way to act.
An appropriate way?
Yes.
So what is the problem? So there was supposed to be a fund created, you were supposed to transfer money into that fund, you were supposed to use that money to pay war claims, which was done, war claims was paid, and it says that any money reimbursed to the government of Guam for payment of claims shall be deposited in the fund. And if we were reimbursed for payment of claims, the question is, why was the money not deposited in the fund?
I think, Senator, it was. The fund had a deficit when the money was paid out, and that deficit was made good when the refund was received. So the fund now is balanced. And that,
so the money was put into the fund. You're saying the reimbursement was put into the fund?
Yes, because the fund had a minus number.
The other section of the same law says that the fund shall be exempt from the governor's transfer authority, and any funds remaining in the fund shall be subject to legislative appropriation. So if the money was reimbursed, it should have been deposited in the fund according to the law, and it should have remained there subject to legislative appropriation. And I know you're trying to tell us that there was a deficit balance in the fund, but not if the law was followed and the money was transferred to the fund. That's a positive balance. If the governor did what it says in subsection C, transfer sums available from the general fund to this special fund, or this war claims fund, to pay the adjudicated claims, and then when the money and used that money, paid out claims, and when the money was reimbursed by the Treasury to Guam, it should all still be in that fund. And it seems like but you're telling us now that there is no money in the fund, and I'm looking at the because the reimbursement amount equal to the amount that you paid. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then did you say today that the governor has promised to transfer Section 30 funds into this war claims fund?
No, Madam Speaker. What I said was, in April, the governor wrote a letter when this bill was initially published, suggesting that rather than any other source, Section 30 money should be used to fund this particular program.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. The governor wrote a letter in April when this legislation was initially published, suggesting that rather than looking at any other source of funds, Section 30 money should be looked at to provide the funding for this particular program.
Okay. So she's suggesting that that Section 30 funds be used.
That
Right.
yes,
Okay.
that was what you wrote.
There's no problem with that. She's authorized to transfer, according to the original law, any amount received from Section 30 for this program, to put it into the fund and use it for the program. So I know they asked earlier, and there's no set amount or estimate of how much it would need. Did we receive, will we receive more in Section 30 for FY21? Well, I'm sorry. More than, did they reconcile the Section 30, and are we expecting more than what we have anticipated or appropriated?
We received 76 million, as you know, because that was included in the budget legislation. Any adjustment to that comes from an adjustment of the actual tax receipts, not from any other reason, assuming that they have run through all the more claims.
No, I mean, well, what about for the prior year adjustments for Section 30?
That could happen either way because of tax reconciliation.
Are you expecting any?
No, I've not been advised of any.
All right. Well, could you give us an estimate of how long, if this bill is passed, how long would it take to put those funds into this account? The funds necessary for this program. I don't want to create another RISE program where people wait for, you know, a really exorbitant amount of time, and it you know, it was a very stressful thing. So how long do you think that that's going to take?
Well, I think you're asking, if I may kind of paraphrase your question, I think you're asking how long it would take once a plan is submitted to actually get these war claims paid.
Well, the money. Is the money available?
Well, the money has to come from this bill. So the money, if you're using Section 30 money, and
You've received it already?
We've received it.
Yes.
I refer back to what Mr. Guerrero said earlier, but you know, in any of these programs, and to my knowledge, that includes the RISE program also, there's a lot of administrative work that has to go into setting up the process and the rules, and that, I believe, is the cause of the gap, and I hate to use the word delay, right? The gap between the idea and the realization.
All right. Okay, so the money is available. Money could be transferred immediately.
Your time is expired.
Thank you. As soon as the plan is ready. Right?
If authorized by this bill, yes.
Thank you.